welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey, and in this sewing video we're actually moving into my bedroom. Now this room is very almost tone on tone. It's very beige on tan on white. I do want to bring in some warmth. I love jewel tones. I love darker, moodier colors mixed into a space. Not sure how well you can tell, but this bed is quite large. It's actually a king size bed. I've only ever had queen and full size beds, so this is a whole different ball game. I'm figuring out what looks good with the bedding and what doesn't look good. Everything seems to need to be sized up, and this is no exception with this bolster pillow. I scoured all over Amazon looking for a bolster pillow that size-wise made sense. It needed to be not only long, but it needed to be thicker than most bolster pillows I was finding, just because it needs to not only take up the width, it needs to take up some of the length of this bed as well. These pillows are king-size pillows. Obviously everything else fits with the sizing of the bed, but for this pillow it needed to be quite large. So once I found that, it's actually coming in tomorrow. I already have the fabric. I am using my Moody dark green Stella fabric. It is new to my collection that I will link down below, but I love the way this pattern looks. I actually designed it with this project in mind. I knew I wanted certain colors in this that had like warm greens and warm blues and gold tones, and overall was just a really cozy, warm fabric. And so I ordered that. That is also coming tomorrow, and then we can start the sizing and the cutting of everything. So I think I'm definitely going to cut this at an angle, so that way, like technically the pillow would kind of lay like this instead of like this, because the pattern goes this way. And I think doing this, just because how long this is, if you're looking at the pillow when it was done, you could easily see, like you can even see it here, like it repeats. I don't want it to be that obvious, so I think when cutting, I'm going to cut it at a diagonal. That way, when you're looking forward or even sideways at the pillow itself, it's not going to be as obvious. Also, if you do want to make this is a good reminder to order more fabric than you think, because if you do want to go sideways with it, you're obviously going to need more, because instead of doing this, where I would have all this extra, if I'm going this way, I don't have as much to work with. Now, to figure out how much of the fabric I needed to actually go all the way around the bolster pillow, I just used these like fabric measuring tape thing. I don't really know what it's called, but it comes in every single sewing kit. I just used that, wrapped it around the bolster pillow, and then once I had that size, I flattened it out and then cut along to make sure enough of the fabric was to that length. And then here I'm just showing you, I'm cutting from this end to this end, and then repeating the same thing on the other side, and this will make the body of the pillow, like the long part. I have this little white marker or white pencil that I got from the exact same sewing kit the ruler is from. It works really well because of how dark the fabric is. I was able to see the little markings really easily. I will say I do need to get a bigger cutting mat because this one was so small and I had to like move it every time and reposition. It works, but I could definitely do better with a longer one. Now I'm basically just repeating the exact same thing for the end pieces, keeping in mind to have a 1/2 inch seam allowance, because you're going to have room for the piping as well as enough room to sew the end caps and the body together. So whatever your size is, add a 1/2 inch. That way it just gives you enough sewing room. Now these are my 2 end pieces and my body, and we're going to go to Joann's. Now that I had the fabric, I wanted to go to Joann's and get a zipper that would match really closely, and I was actually surprised. They had it, and it was really good. I know it says invisible. I actually went back and I got regular, because just the invisible zip was freaking me out. The more I looked into it, the more I was just like, I'm not going to do that right now. However, Joann's didn't have a zipper long enough for the bolster itself, so I had to make these little notches and then sew or iron down the pieces, so that way the zipper, you can still obviously use it, but I'm just going to have to connect the rest of the fabric together to actually make the cylinder shape. And you can see here, I'm just adding the zipper And then I'm going to show you, once the zipper is actually attached, you can then sew the rest of the fabric that's open, making the actual cylinder shape. Oh my god. I think I did it. Oh, I love this. Obviously, there's no sides. I don't even know how much of this you can actually see, but this thing looks amazing. I'm very impatient, as you can probably tell. I wanted to see this even though like the ends aren't done. Oh. And like the zip looks good. It's obviously not like an invisible zip, but it blends in really well, which I'm super happy about. The zipper works too, so you know, that's really the main part, is that it works. Oh, this is so nice. Oh, this is so cool. And there's still like plenty of room on the sides so for me to add the end pieces, which are actually right here. So I have each little end piece, and we're going to do, bless you, baby. Bless you. Oh, my little sneezer. As I was saying, we have the end pieces. They're going to do that, but I need to add piping. So we're going to do like really cool piping on top of this, so that way, I don't know, I think it just adds like a little bit of extra instead of being like a plain end where it's just like a sewn side that goes around. We're gonna have like a little piping moment. I think it's gonna be cute. It is getting kind of late, so I don't know if I'm gonna do piping today or if I'm gonna wait till tomorrow, but this, it looks pretty great. I'm pretty excited. It's so cool. I was definitely worried for a moment, just like the sheer size of this. I was kind of worried that I wouldn't find a zipper big enough, but I'm super happy. This is gonna look so good on our bed. Actually, let's just like throw it up on the bed and see how it looks, because I think it's gonna be amazing. Okay, our bed's not even made, but you get the idea. Look at this. Oh, I'm loving it. I love the dark that it adds to this like otherwise very like beige and white room. Oh, it looks so good. And it's very dark in here because, like I said, it's getting dark. It's like 5 o'clock, but this is so pretty. I love this. Okay, we just have to do the end caps. So to start on the end caps, you're going to make the piping, and it's just a long piece of your fabric, and you're going to put the piping inside of it, and then you literally just sew it. I'm using a zipper foot just because I want to get as close to the piping as possible. You can buy piping literally anywhere. I got mine from Joann's. It looks like string, basically. It just looks like a big rope. But once you have sewn your piping into your fabric, you're going to do what's called a relief cut, which you can see me doing here. It just helps the piping be able to go around like curves and circles like we're doing here, and it looks better. You'll see it a lot in upholstery fabric. They do relief cuts. That way it can just bend easier and it looks better, more professional. So that is what we're doing here. And then to make almost a seamless transition from one end of the piping to the other, I cut off the excess, but then I opened up and cut out a little piece of the piping itself. And I'm just going to put the other end of the piping inside that opening. So that way it looks like one continuous piping and you don't have any kind of weird like opening. I also will say, when I was putting the body and the end cap together, I lined up that opening with where the zipper is at, so you won't really ever see it when you're looking at the pillow. Now take your time with the piping. I am still using the zipper foot, that way I can get as close as possible to the piping when I'm sewing it together. And I cut off the excess fabric from the body, and now I'm just going to attach the end cap to the body of the pillow. Now I know I just said take your time with the piping. Take your time with adding the end cap to the body of the pillow. You're going to have to sew on top of the sew line you already made when connecting the piping to the end piece, because when you take it out and it's like a finished product, you're going to see both of those sew lines. So you need to be super slow, just take your time and sew on top of that sew line. That way you only have one seam that you can see and not two. It just makes it overall look much better. It's literally all done. So we're gonna find the zipper. It's still inside out, obviously. Just unzip and then pull it right side out. Make sure you get like your piping out. That way it looks all cute. And this is what your piping should look like once it's like right side out. And this is why it was super important to mimic the stitching when you were putting the long side and the end cap together. Mimicking the stitching was because of this. That way it all looks really good and you don't have like multiple lines right here. So that is why. Just take your time with the piping. So it'll take longer than you probably think it will. I know the first time like I was testing out piping, it took me so long. But she's looking cute. Now for the real test is to see if it's now somehow too small for this. And you want to kind of pull it as tight as you can. Get the ends all the way out. And that way it looks full. So when you see like a bolster pillow, normally this kind of pokes out, so it looks really full, and that's kind of the look you want to go. So push this as far as you can in. And then this way, we're gonna bend the pillow in half and kind of just squeeze it through the zipper. And we're done! Okay, I'm gonna go make the bed. Full transparency, it is not made, so I'm gonna go make the bed and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like all done. I truly love the way this pillow turned out. It brought so much warmth and texture into this bedroom, and I'm honestly just obsessed. I am so proud of myself. This is probably the first like true test of my abilities of sewing, and I think it came out amazing. I am so happy. Every time I make the bed now, it's like a joy to be able to put this on there. The sizing is perfect for the bed, and the pattern is exactly the warm hug that I wanted from this project. I'm so happy. I hope you enjoyed. Tell me what you think. Do you think it looks great? Whatever it is, I would love to hear it in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.